Alright, welcome back. It is day 2 of our collograph crayon rubbing. And at this point, we have already done a drawing, which you can see right here. And then we have transferred that drawing to tagboard, and we have cut it out and glued it onto another piece of tagboard. We've also cut out little details that we've added on top of that to create more raised surfaces. And so at this point, you should have your plates done. And again, if I hold this up, let me see if I can catch that on the camera. There we go. You can see some of the raised surfaces. So it's these raised surfaces that are going to allow us to see the image when we put paper over the top of it and use crayon to rub. So we are going to approach this as a pop art project, and so we're going to do 4 of these with some fairly bright colors. In fact, we are going to combine 2 colors for each print. And so what I'm going to do is take this and I'm going to lay it over the top. And this is actually, this particular one is 9 by 6, whereas this paper is 18 by 12. So that will allow us a perfect 4 prints on this. It's also nice because I can line this up with the right edge. I can line up the right top and, it's the top left and the top left over here. And I can line it up to make sure it's fairly straight. Well, in order to get it to stay, however, I'm going to take a piece of tape to hold it in place. Okay? Now, one of the things is this tape is really, really strong. And so I'm going to, see if I can dull it down a little bit. So I'm going to take some cloth. It could be your jeans, your shirt, or whatever else. And I'm going to stick this tape on there a couple of times just to dull it down a little bit so it doesn't rip the paper. All right. So then, coming back to this, we'll go ahead and put it down. And I want just a little bit of tape on this side. I really don't want it to mess up with the print too much. So we'll just go ahead and stick this down. All right, so it's fairly straight. Now I'm going to pick my 2 colors, and I think for this one I'm going to go ahead and do green, and we'll do blue. Okay, so I'm going to start with my lightest color, and I have unwrapped this green, and I've actually split it in half because I have found that smaller pieces actually work better. So with this, I'm just going to go ahead and start rubbing gently over the top. And I say gently because I don't want to be too aggressive right away, or maybe at all. But I'm going to go ahead and just get the image to show up. And you can see my mask details are starting to pop out here. You can change the direction a little bit, but I wouldn't do it too much. At least not right away. We want everything to kind of show up. And so now we see the entire mask image showing up. And so now I need to decide, do I want this edge to show up? I'm changing my direction just a little bit. All right, there's more of the outline coming in. Do I want to add some color in the background? I think so. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of green back here. And don't be afraid to turn your paper if you think you can get a better angle, or you can do a better job of coloring it by changing direction. So I'm going to put a little bit of green over the entire background. You can actually kind of see the edge. I like seeing that edge just a little bit. And I could leave it like this, or I could go ahead and fill in a little bit of the inside. Now this you want to be careful. I don't want the point of the crayon going into it, but I just want a little bit of suggestion of green there. I can bring that edge to the strap out just a little bit. And I kind of like how it goes from dark to light right here, so I'm not going to push that too much further. You can change your direction, meaning paper-wise. I'm going to rotate it again and really get into that. Like a little bit over here. And again, I want it dark along the edge and then just kind of fading. So I could put more in here if I want. That is going to certainly be up to you, how much green you put on or your base color. Put just a little bit more here. And I noticed that little back strap was not showing up. So there's my first base layer. Now I'm going to come back with my darker color. And again, I'm going to go over the top just kind of gently. And this one, again, you'll kind of feel for how much do you want of that second color to show up. I have to be really careful because I want more of this to be green than anything. So I'm just going to skim the top and catch those raised areas. If you're really quick, you might get some of these little lines that you don't want. But if you do, you can also make that part of your picture. I just got another one, and that's okay. We're going to work with it. So I'm going to go along the edge, and it almost gets to the point where it becomes kind of 3D if you just leave it. Or you can come in and say, okay, I want to build up a little bit more of a blue on the bottom portion. I'm just going to fade it out a little bit. I like how that green's dark right there. I think I'll go ahead and bring in just a little bit more of a blue-green by putting some right there. And every once in a while, just step back and take a look at it and say, okay, do I want darker yet? Do I want to stop? At what point do I say enough is enough? Well, I can tell you right now, I like this edge showing up over here. So I'm just taking my crayon and just bringing out the edge. So I think right now what I'm seeing that I really like is a little more blue in the background with just a hint of blue along the details inside the mask. Like right here, I need just a tiny bit more blue on top of that. And then pretty soon I'm going to say I'm done with the mask. But now I'm going to take the blue along the outer edge and build that up. All right, so I have my first one done, or close to being done. I think there could be a little bit more in here, but I'm going to go ahead and say good for now. And now I'm going to go on to my next color and my next print, which means I have to take my paper off and I have to take my tape off. So I'm going to take my fingernail and I'm just going to very gently pry off this tape, because even though I dulled it down, I don't want it to rip my paper. So I'm going to peel it away from the paper. Slowly, slowly, and slowly. All right. And then I'd move on to the next one, which is going to be over to the right. And again, line up my edges, your edges. And then I should be able to still use this tape for at least one more print. So I'm going to lay that down and begin with my next color. So with this next color, I would say maybe stay away from the cool colors and try something warm. But play with the colors, see what you like. You know, if you really say, nope, I'm going to go green, but I'm going to do yellow with it, give it a try, because then you're starting to get into the warm colors. I would rather you do blue or the stronger color, maybe kitty corner from this, but you play with your colors and see how it goes. So when you get done, you are going to have 4 prints, and this is my first one, all right? And you can see this actually was my very first one, and I learned some things on this. Like I learned, well, maybe I need to go a little less or maybe more in one direction. I also learned that maybe green by green was not a good idea, maybe alternating and having, you know, this one could have been over here. But that's something you'll learn as you go. So you're going to do a series of 4 prints, rubbing with different colors. And I'll show you a couple more ideas. Just as a review, I showed these in video number 1. All right, this one's a good example of a little less crayon in the background and emphasizing that dark color along the edge. This is one of my favorites because it has almost kind of a shadow effect to it. This is the example of, all right, same thing on cardboard. And this is a completed one of the hot dog. And I had a particular line that was really bothering me, and it was just in the way my cardboard was cut. Otherwise, I really played around with different colors and how to really bring out some edges with just one of the colors. But have fun with this. Mix your colors up, see what you can get, and create some pop art.